Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and the new expansion for Hearthstone, Rise of the Shadows, is almost upon us, which means we can actually look at the cards and start getting an idea of what we're interested in getting when we do the card pack opening extravaganza, I suppose is what I could call it. I've got lots of gold. Unfortunately, there will be a new solo adventure too. I haven't even looked to see if the new expansion is listed yet. No, apparently not. But there will be a new solo adventure, so I'm going to leave at least 2,500 gold in each of my three accounts, the Americas account, the Asian account, and the European account. So that will be fewer packs being opened, but it will still be quite a lot. In fact, it will probably be 50 packs just for my main account alone. I think I'm going to have plenty of gold for the expansion otherwise. But that's not what we're here to do. So to see the new cards, you go into crafting mode and then click the selector to go to Rise of the Shadows, and then you click include uncraftable cards, because guess what, it's not out yet, you can't craft it. Last time we did Shaman cards, so that leaves us with just Warlock cards and Warrior cards. Every time I do an expansion, I just go from left to right, and inherently that means people that are interested in Druid cards more than Warlock cards will see it several hours earlier, because it just takes so long to look at these cards and consider them and give them at least a thought or two. And of course, it doesn't really make any sense until you look at all the neutral cards. I probably should do the neutral cards first, but then that would take the longest amount of time, certainly, is to look at the large amount of cards that are expanded there. You only get about 10 hero specific cards per expansion. So the first one we have is a 2 mana, 2 attack, 2 health minion called Evil Genius. It's a common rarity. It has a battle cry, destroy a friendly minion, and add 2 random lackeys to your hand. Lackeys, I believe, are 1 mana, 1 attack, 1 health minions that have a random assortment of abilities, I think. So I'm not sure why this would work, but it probably would synergize with some of the Warlock cards, because there definitely are Warlock cards that benefit from activating their death rattle and benefit from being killed, but you are going to have a selection. There was a card that has long since been banned or stopped from working the way it used to be. I believe it was rewritten and nerfed, called the Nightmare or something. I think it's also in Wild. I think it was nerfed and was put in Wild, and it would automatically summon itself after it was killed. So if you could play this on the Nightmare and destroy it, it would just resummon itself immediately. But I don't think you can use that one. We'll check that out later and see where the Nightmare sits today. It's been a very long time since anybody's played it. Next we have a 2 mana spell called Plot Twist. Shuffle your hand into your deck and draw that many cards. There is a card called Renounce Darkness. So for 2 mana, it just gets rid of your hero class specific cards and replaces them with other cards that are buffed up. So maybe this would work well with Renounce Darkness, or this might just be a decent just I want to redraw my hand. But you probably need a better strategy than that. There's just redrawing your hand isn't going to win the game for you. And you can have 2 of any common, rare, or epic rarity cards, so you could redraw your hand twice if you had 2 copies of that. Next we have a 3 mana spell called Inferno, which there's already a card I think called Inferno. It says give your demons +1 attack, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. That's not bad. That's a pretty good card for 3 mana. Maybe it's a little too expensive, but not bad. You'd want to play this mid-game or late game, so you have a lot of demons on the field, and you would definitely want to play this if you're playing a lot of demons as a Warlock. There's a lot of different reasons why you might be playing as a Warlock, and not all of them involve actually playing Warlock cards. It may just be that you want to play mostly neutral cards, and you want to be able to draw a card for doing 2 damage to yourself. Next, we have a 3-mana spell called Raphael Scheme. Summon one attack, 1 health imp, and it upgrades each turn. So you draw this on the first turn, and by the 3rd turn you play this, you might be allowed to summon 4 1/1 imps. That being said, you can only have 7 minions on the field, so this might not be super useful. And I don't know how this really synergizes any further. Imps would be demons, so if you summon a bunch of them and then you give your demons +1 attacks, well, then you might have 7 demons on the field, and then that might give you +7 attack spread amongst 7 minions, but that's really not that big of a deal. So a beginning of a concept there, a beginning of a synergy, but it would need a couple more cards for it to make sense. Next we have a 4-mana, 2 attack, 2 health minion called Ogre Underling. Has a death rattle, give 2 random friendly minions +2/+2. I suppose in the long haul this is useful, but again, I don't think this really would synergize with much. It's just buffing 2 random friendly minions. Yeah, I guess Warlock has been doing pretty good in the meta game lately, so they're probably just giving them generic not so good cards, so it gets a little bit weaker, trying to bring it back in line with all the other cards. I've been able to win recently with a new Warlock deck pretty well. Next we have a 6-mana, 4 attack, 6 health demon type minion called Ozzy, a Broodmaster, I guess. Ozzy. It has taunt, and whenever you draw this, restore 4 health to your hero. Unless you're playing a demon deck, I don't really know a reason why you would want to play this. It probably is one of the few rare opportunities for the Warlock to heal himself, so you might want to play that better than having a spell that would heal you, but that's kind of it. Yeah, I was thinking maybe the early game cards would be bad, but then the late game cards might be good, but I think we're probably just going to see all the cards are not that good. Next we have 6-mana spell called Darkest Hour. Destroy all friendly minions. For each one, summon a random minion from your deck. Maybe that would work if you have some really powerful minions in your deck. Using the Hearthstone deck tracker app, which I use, maybe you could plan ahead and try to have something happen there. But yeah, I don't know what else you would pull off with that. That seems like that's a pretty desperate move for 6 mana. Let's see. Next we have a 7-mana, 7 attack, 8 health legendary minion called Archvillain Raphael, or Archvillain Raphael. It has taunt and a battle cry to replace your hand and deck with legendary minions. So I guess at that point, if you played this, maybe this would make sense, but you wouldn't have this anymore because it would have been replaced with legendary minions. In fact, you would have no spells at all there. And so, is there any card here that would make sense for that, or really synergize with that? Not really. So this is a fine legendary card on its own, particularly if you don't have very many good legendary minions to play on the 7th turn, or very good Warlock cards in general, but it doesn't synergize with anything Warlock at all. Next we have an 8 mana, 5 attack, 7 health demon type minion called Fey Lord Butrug. Whenever you draw a minion, summon a copy with Rush that dies at the end of the turn. Maybe? Again, like that might be helpful, but probably not that much. And if Warlock is getting to the 8th turn, if Warlock's getting to the late game like that, Warlock is probably going to lose. Lose. So, even though we're seeing something that some of these later turn game cards may be being helpful in a bubble, in a vacuum, in reality, if you make it to the 10th turn with a Warlock, you've probably lost. Let's see. And then finally we have a 10 mana, 8 attack, 8 health demon called Jumbo Imp. It costs 1 less whenever a friendly demon dies while this is in your hand. So maybe there is something if we just go to standard cards and we see how many cards will summon imps. Maybe there's an idea there. So I assume this is also an imp. So you can play this, 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 this. This isn't an imp. This would summon imps, certainly. This would summon imps, and this would cost less imps. So if you don't have anything else to do with Warlock, you could probably do that. And this also, I believe, summons imps. And this also is a demon that probably should be a Warlock class card. Summons a bunch of imps. Wait a minute, so 6 mana to fill the board. Whenever a friendly demon dies in your hand. Oh wait, this doesn't even require imps, does it? Costs 1 less whenever a friendly demon dies while this is in your hand. So it's just demons that you have to play, not imps. Oh, so I'm thinking completely differently. Well, if you wanted to play demons, there's all the usual demons that the Warlock offers you. Lord Draxus, always sometimes helpful. Summon all friendly demons that died this game if you play this hero replacement. Then there's a collection of demons outside of this too. What I wanted to see though is the Nightmare. Let's see, Nightmare. Where are you? Nightmare. No, you're somewhere around here. I swear it was a... Maybe you don't spell it that way. Maybe it's M-A-R-E. Bone Mare. Scaled Nightmare. It's summon card. And it has end in the name. No, that won't work. Where are you hiding Nightmare? Here it is. It's called Dreadsteed. Okay, it is a Nightmare, but it's called Dreadsteed. So this is a grand tournament card. Death Rattle. At the end of the turn, summon a Dreadsteed. 4 mana, 1 attack, 1 health. In Wild, it used to read, it was nerfed and put in Wild. Death Rattle, summon a Dreadsteed, or yeah, just said summon a Dreadsteed. So that's not helpful either. The other thing I wanted to look at, there were some Shaman cards that would let you level up and mutate your minions to 1 mana cost higher. And I wanted to see what this looks like in standard. I guess it doesn't really matter what it looks like in wild. Because undoubtedly, let's just filter down to 7+, that'll save us some time too. You can transmute things up to level 10. Everybody knows there's something that costs 1 through 10 mana, and you can have 10 mana crystals in total. But yes, as I see it, there is no 11 mana, so you can go up to a 10. You can't transmute up to this 12 mana as a shaman, unless, well, actually you can. There's this card that was added in the Knights of the Frozen Throne to 11 mana, so you can get up to 12. And then if you look at all cards, I think you can even go higher than 12. Yes, you can go up to 12, but you can't make it to 20. So it's still that. There's still only 20. This card is in wild, the Molten Giant. And yeah, it wasn't even that good of a card. Frankly, they should come back and bring some of these cards out of wild. Make this a 15. Have it do the exact same thing, exact same health, exact same damage, and just remove 5 mana cost on it and bring it back to standard. It would be fine. Nobody would play it anyways. And in wild, you still can only get up to 12. And once this 11 disappears, once this goes to wild, then you'd be back to only being able to do something in up to 10. Alright, well, we're kind of bouncing around concepts here. The Warlock, not super impressive, frankly. For the cards, I guess Warlock was just a little too strong, and so again they're deciding to not give you many cards that would really help you in any way. This card is about the only one that I would actually consider, whereas some of these other ones, maybe, if you've got nothing better, but you probably got better. Next recording we'll be looking at the Warrior, and then we have to spend a big amount of effort to look at all the neutral cards. That's going to be it for this recording, though. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wish list. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.